What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 42. I am Bret, aka Enigma 9011, and once again, returning to the podcast, we got Dio, aka Mr. Dio 24/7. Remember, guys, you can catch the podcast live every first and third Saturday of the month over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011, where you can join in the chat, join in the conversation with us, and talk about the topics and stuff like that. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. You can catch it over on youtube.com, search Enigma9011, where it's broken out topic by topic, and then at the end of the week, put it as one big video. And then last but not least, it's that hashtag ad. We are sponsored by the merch store, so you can get all of your Enigma 9011 swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. So check it out. Rep the brand. Help us out. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right, Dio, how are you doing today, good sir?
Well, feeling pretty good. It's Wednesday, right? Hump day.
Yep.
Definitely feels like a hump day.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of licking my wounds, just kind of training up for the possibly next week. Just kind of getting some more experience, man.
Nice.
But other than that, just keeping my eye on the prize.
Mm-hmm.
And one round at a time. So.
All right.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man.
Nice.
Start to work out a bit more, get that cardio in, DDR.
There you go.
So it's good when you play and local barcade and the pad actually works. You got a crowd of like 15, 20 people watching. The big guy moves so fast, so it's always good.
There you go. So, Dio, you were on before. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but last time you were on, we definitely talked a lot about wrestling, which we are going to talk a little bit more about later, but I kind of want to touch on a different aspect, at least for you, that I know you're a big fan of, and it's a big part of your life, and that's the fighting game community and fighting games in general. So I kind of wanted to pick your brain and kind of hear, like, where your beginnings were in the fighting game, like how you got into fighting games, what were games that like maybe stood out to you or got you into the fray and stuff like that, and then I kind of go from there. So I guess let's start from the beginning. How'd you get into fighting games?
That's a good question, man. Actually, it was a family-oriented event. Whenever I would go to my cousin's house, starting around, I think the earliest I can remember was about 5 or 6. My cousin Ian was definitely like one of the best players to ever grace Street Fighter these days, which is actually where I started. I would have to say we used to go to this little corner market back when arcades was a thing, and had a Street Fighter 2 and I believe an NBA Jams, but we would always go over there like $5 or $6 just to play on Street Fighter, man. And then the local round table was always festive, man. Like we would go there and there would be like lines of like 10, 15, 20 people on an hourly basis.
Wow.
Wreck everybody. And it's great because I would run out of quarters and then we would have to wait till he gets done.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, that's awesome. You get to take all those quarters, I mean, back then 50 cents a play was expensive.
Right.
I still think it's expensive, but to sum it up, Street Fighter 2 was probably the biggest plant, and once it hit consoles, from Street Fighter 2 the arcade to Championship Edition or Hyper Fighting, whichever you want to call it, Super Nintendo, Genesis, I played it both on consoles. I kind of was reaching out to a lot of other games too, because right when Street Fighter 2 hit, you had Art of Fighting, World Heroes, SNK. Mortal Kombat wasn't quite out when I first started playing, but I did play a lot of like SNK, like Sam Show, as Samurai Shodown is coming around again. Street Fighter 2, Art of Fighting, Fatal Fury was a big one. I never got to play like the console versions of like Fighter's History, which a lot of people would say that's like a Street Fighter knockoff. But it's hard to say because the early 90s was like everything had to be a Street Fighter. So
yeah.
Once Mortal Kombat hit again, I would just make the rounds with my cousin, and he would just, I would tag along with him. He would give me like $2 or $3, and then I would have to wait my turn because he would just dominate people on Mortal Kombat 2. And it's like, can you stop playing? Because I want to go home. But and he would continue to wreck me on consoles as Mortal Kombat, came home. As far as with Mortal Kombat coming out again, two has always been like fluid wise, damage, just characters. I spent a lot of time playing MK2. Turbo came out, or Super Street Fighter for Super Nintendo. So I was balancing back and forth between consoles and arcades
Mm-hmm.
at the height of like fighting games. And once they started to like slightly decline, you had crossover series. X-Men versus Street Fighter was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
The Marvel superheroes versus Street Fighter, uh, Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2. I was at my local arcades. Shout outs to Fairfield Mall, Bolt Arcade. Was one of the first places that I actually got to see a lot of like high level play. And if you really wanted a lot of competition and super high level play, Milpitas Golfland, Sunnyvale Golfland. Those two places, unfortunately, I wouldn't spend a lot of time at fighting games, but when MVC2 was kind of rocking and moving alive, that and CVS2, those are two arcades I did spend a hefty amount as far as fighting games. So anything really related to Street Fighter, I did a lot of. MK2 was a good portion. I played a lot of MK3 when it came home. PlayStation had a bunch of Street Fighter games. CVS2. I spent money on those games. Like, I would do as I got older and I had my own money, I continued to just seek out arcades, whether or not they had busted buttons or nothing, or the joystick wasn't working. As long as I can get a few of these combos I can normally do, arcade, I would love to just grab a seat and do what my cousin used to do and just beat people up and take the quarters. So that would be like the everlasting impact as to why I still play Street Fighter, though the game is, it's a different monster as with each iteration.
Yeah.
Championship edition, same characters, 4 bosses. Hyper slash Rainbow had in the arcade. You had Blanca shooting sonic booms. You had Sagat doing tiger uppercuts and then changing into Ryu throwing fireballs. So, crazy stuff like that. And then, we got into like the more systems of like Street Fighter 3, the parrying, which, in my opinion, Street Fighter 3 is definitely the hardest game to really get into because of the parrying aspect. But it's a true 2D fighter. The sprites are beautiful. It's actually the one Street Fighter game I really didn't play a lot of, just based off the difficulty. And right around that time, my cousin actually stopped playing fighting games. He moved on to like FPSs.
Oh, okay.
So, my inspiration kind of stopped at MVC2 because my cousin wasn't really big into that. And CVS2 are probably the last two set of fighting game continuously. Every time I had a chance, oh man, they got a CVS2. Oh, it's missing a button, or player 2 side can't block. I'll still play it. Just because it's, for me, like that was kind of like my last stop of like, back play coming back and being able to download. It's not arcade perfect, but just knowing the fact that it's available, it's amazing. It amazes me, and it's $10.
All right, so you got a lot of games that you just listed off. So you said Street Fighter 2 was pretty much the first one that you dipped your toe into. Was there a certain character that you stuck with, or because it was so early stages, you kind of played whoever?
Yeah, everyone got their hands on Shotos, Ken Ryu. Ken starting to kind of branch out the flaming Shoryuken, and Ryu becoming the master of the fireball. Hits like a dump truck. But in all honesty, like, for some reason, when my cousin Arnold, it's actually my cousin Ian's like older cousin from through marriage and stuff, like I saw him just wreck people with Guile. And it's just like, oh, all you do is hold back and press forward and chuck a fireball. It's just like, you don't understand. Oh, well, you're not just holding back. You got to block and stuff. There's a patience game to it, and I was like, that style. So any kind of iteration of a charged character per se, more Guile-esque, because flash kick, sonic boom, fierce backhand. Oh man, just the sound of that it's just crack him in the jaw, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. So for Street Fighter 2 series, I would definitely say anyone that played remotely like Guile, like Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, I actually branched out to DJ. He
Okay.
plays he plays definitely more of a mobile Guile, Super Turbo from what I understand. Um, I mean, his play style is just so fun. I mean, his double roundhouse, his fireball, his slide. He's got more
Mm-hmm.
mobility than Guile, though Guile is still always one of the strongest characters in the game. When he disappeared and Nash popped out, which was basically Guile 2.0 or 1.0 or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, one-handed sonic boom and a cooler looking flash kick, I just couldn't say no. So his first go around with the Alpha series was all right, cool. He's the default Guile character. Multiple sonic booms, still plays like Guile. Doesn't have a double crouching roundhouse, 2 hits, so you have to block both hits. But just the idea that he plays like him and he looks real similar, and he's the one that taught him the sonic boom. I got to go with my dude. And in the if I didn't want to play Nash slash Charlie Alpha series, I played a lot of actually Adon, so I got Fireballless. Cool. Yeah, I mean just because he's kind of like the opposite. He's in your face and he's gonna elbow you, he's gonna knee you, he's gonna tiger uppercut you, and his design is great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much who I played in Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
And
you mentioned that around Marvel 2, and I believe it was CVS or CVS 2, you kind of took a break. When was the resurgence back into it?
um, I would say I kind of stopped playing just right before Evo got really big, actually.
Okay.
So while they were still going, like SoCal East Coast was really building up evolution,
Mm-hmm.
fighting games in general. That was right around the birth of like esports, kind of like Call of Duty, CS:GO, or not even before that, it's Rainbow Six, I think, or uh, one of those like tactics kind of games where teams are becoming teams and getting like paid a little bit.
Right.
I kind of got busy with another hobby, so for me to really hop back in was actually the culmination of this thing used to be like SoCal Bay Area
Mm-hmm.
post, which became the thing called Evo.
Mm-hmm.
Just started to understand that there's more than just special moves in a character. So the aspect of learning things like spacing, just kind of the overall general rules of learning how to play the fighting game. Spacing, buttons, combos, assists for life. At that time, frame data and all that stuff wasn't really big. It's more so you press this button if it can, if it can beat or trade, then that's the button you would use. At least that's how I was taught. And I mean, I was like Giles in MVC2. He's not that great of a character.
Mm.
He can build meter really fast. And I was like, all right, man, I got to find someone who's kind of trending as far as the tier systems, which was kind of a thing, but not really, at least to my understanding. I just needed someone who could control the horizontal plane. Hey, Iceman's got a 6-hit fireball, why not? And it does a chunk of like block damage, keeps you in block stun, so you can't really press a button. So I was like, and a lot of people would on, more role characters like Trombone or even Spiral for the part. And then you actually had a third character like Sentinel or, Cable. Ugh. Don't talk about Cable. Just learning more matchups, more, oh, this is what you can do, and, just wanting to learn some of the glitches and stuff. Because one of the things, as I was starting to experiment with MVC2, more so than CVS2, was I watched this one combo that I watched like on the monthly basis. And I'm like, how do you do all that stuff without it being like tool assisted? Because there are people that can legit do that stuff, and it's like part of this, and actually that drive to learn part necessarily just the glitches, but being able to understand like this is the reason why the combo works, why the combo doesn't work on certain people, and why you have to not do this part of the combo. Be more, I guess, again, look, you know, philosophical about it. Like there are certain things that you can and can't do depending on matchups. So that's when my train of thought, started to absorb more, and that's actually when I started driving out to Sacramento. At the time, I was living in Chico. There's no real game scene out there. It's Sacramento or Bay Area. If not, you're going to LA. And from then on, I just would just go to local tournaments. And at that time, I was still so used to the arcade stick. I didn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
And so my buddy would just kind of like let me borrow it until it broke.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, dude, playing on the pad is so like, it's foreign to me. I mean, I can get away with like Mortal Kombat, but I can't do Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do like King of Fighters. I have to have a stick. It's just more natural. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but just my personal preference is stick first and then pad.
Mm-hmm.
Then CVS 2, just, that just was another quarter burner for me. Like, I'm just going to hop in and see where I go with my fundamentals and try to understand why I'm getting hit. A lot of money on that game, which for me, the cast is great. Knowing how the systems work and knowing why certain moves don't hit certain characters in the way that you want it, that was like, kind of like, why? Why is it happening? It doesn't do that during training. Mm-hmm. And then understanding that arcade ports versus console ports have their own bugs. So it's kind of like, oh, that's why it doesn't work. Because I did a lot of practice on the PlayStation 2 version, which is not a direct port. So every chance that I got, I would play the arcade just for the full 100 effect of it. So, I mean, geez, Guile's in that game too. So it's kind of like, I got my other American boy. I got Terry Bogard, and he's one of my favorites of all time. And I can have him and Guile on the team. And then Taekwondo Master Kim Kofwan. I just can't go wrong, man.
There you go.
I just kind of went nuts. Yeah, kind of went nuts.
I had a question. I guess I'll go with a different one. So there's a lot of fighting games, obviously throughout the years, and then there's a lot kind of in recent years with, at least for me personally, it seemed like 2013 was the start of my knowledge of more. That was when I got back into it with KI, and then Street Fighter 4 was kind of wrapping up, and we're leading into Street Fighter 5, and then MKX, and now MK11, and so on. Is there a certain one now that like you really connect with, or is it just kind of hit them all? I guess.
It's weird because like there was a series that I never really played very seriously that's been around and has a really good following, and I'm just actually now getting into like air dashers, aka anime fighters.
Okay.
A big one that I started with from PlayStation 1 because of my cousin Ian. I started Guilty Gear 1 on the PlayStation 1, where the system itself is completely different from what it's evolved to now. And I would say if there was, I'm definitely not afraid to try random games, or I wouldn't say random games, but games I've never played.
Right.
I believe that's what I would do if I went to anime conventions. Like, anime conventions are great because you get to see games that aren't in America or that are only in specific like locations. Like a lot of East Coast places, a lot of SoCal places have like Fist of North Star, the fighting game, the arcade game. Have a full Melty Blade arcade, which I'm sure if you look it up, it's a pretty nutty game. It's just anime games are so, that's like a genre of fighting games. I don't want to say I regret. I just feel that I tried it and it wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
I found a couple of games that are like really intriguing me. It's kind of like, if I had the same feel for anime games, or at least the generational jump or the feel, in general, it would feel a little more natural. So, I'm learning right now. I'm actually going to pick up what's this game? It was a surprise anime game for Evo Eunice.
Yeah.
What is it? Fate Underbirth XA something,
Something.
but
Yeah.
it's nuts, and it's just like there's a character that I play in there that I've tried for about 5 hours. She's kind of like the Guile equivalent, but
Mm-hmm.
that game it's not, you know, it's Street Fighter with DBZ without the super jumps and dashing. Well, I'm saying dashing, but um, you know, not like Street Fighter where it's like you can mash one button,
Mm-hmm.
auto comboing.
Right.
So getting to understand that, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I could do that, but then when I get to this, I can't press this button
Mm-hmm.
to cancel other stuff. So I know I'm getting a little too worried about it, but just knowing that is that is an effect in specific genres like Dragon Ball Z. Guilty Gear doesn't have that. I don't think you can just
Mm-hmm.
mash jab and it doesn't chain into like medium or strong. You just
No.
stays at the jab. So I would definitely say like I'm not afraid to try different games as I don't think I'm ready to try like at a tournament, let alone a local tournament. But casuals, I'm down to learn just to understand the mechanics of the game because there's like there's so many features in that Unis game that's like each person has their own little quirk. Like one person can't get counter hit, which is the character that I picked, Batista. Um, Someone has ammo. Someone can call this monster lizard thing, and you have to fight the lizard thing, hit it twice, and then it goes away or something like that. And just understanding that they want you to be aggressive
Mm-hmm.
because there's like a meter at the underneath like little meter that builds up, and every 7 seconds, whoever has more space on that grid, then you get like I guess it's called like a Roman cancel, which allows you to chain something that you normally can't do.
Oh, okay.
So there's an advantage. There's an advantage in taking up more space or being more offensive. Let alone, it's not just a strictly offensive game. I play very defensively. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing first of all, but just knowing that you can charge partition just by pressing A twice. You can throw out a little slow ball. And then she has a reverse side boom. So as soon as you throw the ball out, you can use that to trail you if you get ahead. And then you hold forward for 2 seconds, and then you press back with a punch. Then she gets a straight beam.
Hmm.
So it's like, oh, I guess part of her trickiness is being able to utilize a regular side boom charge,
Mm-hmm.
the beam charge, and then some other things I don't understand. But and it's so like it's so fast. I think my eyes are adjusting. I felt like when I not really backtrack, but we're gonna go to like Mortal Kombat. Actually, getting to play the beta was really good because
Mm-hmm.
I was very. I think I talked to you about this before. Was that the movement was
Yeah.
for me is going to be an issue because I felt that not to knock Injustice 2, it's a game that my eyes never adjusted to,
Okay.
which is the reason why I actually never really spent that time to play Marvel 3 because it was too fast and my eyes just never adjusted.
Okay.
Which is the reason why I didn't spend a lot of time with that than I did with MVC2. But being able to see how the game moves I think me and Danny, shout outs to Catstein, we played for about 5 or 6 hours when we had the initial beta, and like the movement was great regardless of like internet. I don't think we had bad choppy internet
No,
connection.
yeah.
But a lot of the matches were I'm hitting the button, it's coming out, or I'm doing the command and it's coming out, and
For sure.
it is a little tricky playing on a non-traditional Mortal Kombat stick where you have to have a center block button. So it's kind of like I'm playing my arcade stick and I'm using X to block, and I got to play with my other 4 fingers. So it's like, oh, this is so crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, yeah.
Because I'm not using a pad. Otherwise, I would just use L2.
Right.
But the movement of that game and just the feel of it felt pretty Mortal Kombat 2 like. So for me, it passes my eye test because I can understand what's going on. It didn't feel clunky like I thought it was going to feel, because that's how I feel. That's my opinion on Injustice 2. For me, just a little clunky. And I feel that MK11, I think for me, I'll spend some time on it, to be honest. Like, it just, I don't know, it just has this natural flow. And even MK3 didn't have like that natural flow like MK2 did, which is why I spent more time playing MK2. And I'm using that relation as to, I can probably buy this game. and probably spend a good amount of time on it. And this is like when I did MK10, going back to MK10, I definitely was like on the hype. I got it because I got the arcade stick.
Yeah.
To be honest, I was like, dude, they come with an MK1 logo stick, basic stick, but I'll spend the $120, whatever. And
Yeah, I still remember our Saturday morning conversation. Leaving class, MKX, went and bought it on a whim, and then came back and was like, I got it.
And so, like, I feel with like the variants and stuff. Like, I mean, I'm not even gonna go into that just because I would say that that was like my only takeaway from that was just the whole variant system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should have been that free as far as like creative, which I get. Which again, this is another topic for another day. But going back to the feel of Mortal Kombat 11 for me felt pretty smooth, and again, I could see what was going on in the screen. I could see why I was getting hit. I can see why I didn't press block and stuff. So understanding why I'm getting what do they call those fatal moves or whatever?
Oh, the crushing blows.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that was cool. Then I get fatality right afterwards. Man, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
No, it feels good, and again, this time around, I'm not trying to. I feel that it's gonna live up to the hype for me because MK10 didn't, and I was like, I'll just wait till like the super great all seasons pass one comes out for $30, which is what I did. So,
all right. I guess my last question, I got it back. What makes you want to keep playing fighting games? Like, what do you enjoy out of it? Like, obviously, everybody's got their own genre and stuff, and fighting game community, kind of on the smaller end, and most people like, oh, I'm just gonna mash this button kind of thing if they're just playing it willy-nilly. So, like, what do you enjoy about it? What do you get from it, I guess? What makes you want to keep going back and play?
Dang, I could write like an essay about that. To be honest, like for me, it is the total escape from everything. Video games in general has been that for me. Like, I'm having a not so good day, I'm gonna pop in a game. I mean, if I get salty because of online shenanigans or whatever, it's part of the grind. And for me, that leads into the grind. That I've gone to tournaments and I've had a taste of pretty big, professional tournaments. Being able to insert my interview of trying to test my strength against other people has always been kind of my goal towards FGC. To be honest, part of it, whether it is to see if I'm playing the character correctly, to learn why I'm getting hit, to get matches, to win. I mean, you don't really, of course you don't. When you first start out, you're not, especially now that everything is like console or at home. You don't have to go to the arcade. You're risking a quarter to play. I have to feel like that. Like, I just put my quarter in and I have to win, otherwise it's game over for me and I lose a quarter.
Right.
So to say that I play to win, that would be the aspect of it. In general, it's to continuously train to stay almost with everything, to stay up with the common trend as far as fighting games. And I just feel like I've had some of my buddies out here tell me I have like a character dilemma because I'm a player, but I've always liked Nash's design, and Nash, I kind of got into a talk with Danny, aka Castine, that he plays certain characters because of things that remind him of more playability. Like, I get more enjoyment having to work hard with Nash versus getting wins with Guile because people complain that he's really strong, which he's always been pretty strong in the whole series. I think the only thing that he was not that great at was Street Fighter Alpha 3, and that was for PlayStation 1 only. But to know that I play because I enjoy the character, not necessarily to insert me as I'm Nash, but more so like I enjoy the struggle to know why I'm getting hit. the scrambles when it takes the next two hits and to see who has a better defense in the heat of battle. And then there are times when I hate it when I get blown up and I get double perfected. You know, I went up against, geez, in the last two professional tournaments I went to, I went up against, and they smoked me. But you know what? I came back with the attitude that next time, instead of getting double perfected, I'm going to take 50% off. Mm-hmm. You know, it helps me set goals that will help me realize that I can be successful when I'm learning trial by fire. You know, why am I getting blown up? Because I'm realizing that I'm doing things that normally would work online. They don't work offline. So to be a more successful and more competent player, that's why I go to these casuals. That's why I go to the monthly tournaments when I can. And being able to showcase it. Just last night, you know, I was on Twitch for, a couple hours. But I got invited to, or I jumped in a battle lounge with, shout outs to Chet the Jet. And, you know, I went probably like eight total rounds with, I think the lobby was full at like 3/4 of the time. So about 7 to 8 people. And I played a character no one really plays very much anymore, which is Nash, because he's just tough to do the things that you need to do to win. And for me, like, I get more fulfillment being able to showcase that and understand why I'm being blown up. So, my passion to be a competent person, competent gamer, competent fighting gamer, and overall just being able to earn my respect, because I don't look at it as, I could play Guile, but I play him and so like autopilot, as in like I just do the same thing regardless of the situation. And that's the reason why I get blown up. And realizing when you get into that autopilot mode, it's like red flags. You can't do it. That's how you're gonna lose your opportunity to win, which is what happened to me. I remembered last year. Last year I went to Seattle, Northwest Majors, my second professional tournament. I trained with a guy who has a much better Akuma than the guy I played. And I didn't get smoked, but I lost in the scramble. Mm-hmm. So from being able to understand a situation, as in who's got more meter, who's got the V trigger, what are his tendencies? Is he going to throw? Is he going to jump? Why is he doing this? You know, you have to think about all that while you're playing. And it's like live sparring. Why is he throwing a roundhouse? Why is he, is he going to switch stance? Is he going to go back? Is he going to steep kick me, or is he only going to attack my left side? It's knowing that I lost to a person who I know I should have beat, and coming back knowing that if I match up with him, there should be no reason that I lose to this guy. And I would say, one of the other things too is, getting to meet other people, other streamers. It's amazing. I've met someone who I've been following for, like 10 months now. And I got to play with some of her friends. Shout out to Snuggy Bunny. I didn't get matches with her, but I got matches with her friends who also stream. So, I just want to showcase that one of her friends plays Nash as well. So it's like I have to show my might and show out, basically, not be afraid to be like, oh well, he just out Nashed me, when I've been playing Nash since like day one. So the run back is always there.
Yeah.
Is it a salty one? I've been waiting 1 year just to get a match, because every time I hop in a lounge, like, he doesn't want to jump in, or he's at work. So it's like, no, I would never say anyone would want to duck me, because I'm terrible at Street Fighter 5. But it's part of me that's like, in order for me to get better, I have to take these losses and understand why I got lost, why I got beat. Went to Red Bull Conquest last year. Again, this is the last year. First interview ever for something that big. I gotta understand why I'm taking these L's, and then we can turn it, into W's. I think that's not exactly
Yep.
what I said, but let the hands walk. I let it go, and when push comes to shove, tournament time, I got to be able to, button check. I got to be able to, punch someone in the mouth via forward fierce punch, and understand why that didn't work, and try to not get discouraged, because getting discouraged is so rough.
Sucks.
I'm 6 hours away for me to sulk and be like, "Oh, that sucked. That was like the worst experience ever." It's like, all right, so you're out of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
There's still casuals. There's still people who are very good level, who are still learning the game, that are like, "Dude, just let's go. Let's have some sets, man." So, I get so much fulfillment, just the whole testing my strength, wanting to get better, wanting to understand, meeting people, and of course getting the W's. I mean, getting W's is important, but those first four, to me, it's just like it's a perfect role playing game movie. It's a good story.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to get sponsored and stuff? I mean, yeah, that's nice, but that comes with winning.
Yeah.
For me, it's just being. I've met big names. I've met the Evo champ Problem X. He's a cool guy. I've met hilarious. He's a family man now, but the 20 minutes I got to talk with him last year, man, it meant a lot. And being able to see him versus a high level Guile player, like Seattle's best Guile player, Chris CCH, shout out to that guy too. Guy's like 17, 18 years old. The guy's a monster. And just being able to see that, and I mean, Chris G, I got to see him play as Ibuki. I didn't get to see him play as Sakura, but I don't know if he still does, or his Guile. But being the exposure is nice, but being able to just talk and meet with these people and get some wisdom, barring if they want to spew it out or not. It's so, for me, it's so soulful. It's so refreshing. It's so it means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So time maybe I can showcase against someone and not get thrown 7 times in a row like Nasser did to me. Another pro guy who was, yo, throw. That's rule number 1. Take the throw. All right, took 6 more of those. I'm not listening to that rule. But it's the whole experience. I mean, that's why I do it. I mean, that's why I continue to come back. Even Street Fighter 5, a game I thought I wasn't going to be playing as much. I mean, I tried to do Soul Calibur 6, but the whole variant and custom character stuff, that all got busted because now you're changing people's hitboxes, they're changing their links.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, things that will normally work on characters of this build will not work if they have certain characters' move list because their hitboxes are small. I mean, there's a lot of things I can complain about that. Even Tekken 7, I mean, a game I thought I would never play. I'm actually going back to that too, just because, oh man, we got 3 or 4 guys that want to casual it up, and I'm like, I used to play Tekken. I'm not very confident, but it's the whole experience, as a whole. That's why I continue to do it. If I can make more big tournaments, I would love to. My goal staggered a bit, but I was hoping to make NCR, which just happened last week, because that was in San Jose. Shout out to Keto, I believe he took it. Akuma took the tournament, and I've got Northwest Majors in Seattle, 27, 28. I already punched my ticket in a couple of days ago, so I could save $5.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? That $5 can be gas money. So
yeah. So you kind of touched on it, and I think my second topic is going to be a little bit better transition into. So we're going to push yours to third. But just before we kind of roll into the second part of my topic, you mentioned a lot of learning what works. Picking up on these things as you play, and I think that's a big thing that a lot of people just don't understand unless they're in the fighting game community. A lot of people, they're button mashing, blah blah blah. I get it. But you and I are definitely on different levels of skill, and then obviously they got everybody else you were talking about. There's a ladder here. But even being at my low rung on the ladder here of slowly getting more into fighting games, like talking with you and talking with Danny and just trying to get better myself, even watching Max, like picking up on things. I can definitely see these components come into play and understand them more. And sometimes it's a slow burn, because I remember playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3, both vanilla and Ultimate Online, getting trashed and just the rage ensuing, and like, I'm never playing online because everybody's an asshole and this and that. But then picking up on, okay, now I get it. You play no defense. That's why you're getting your ass whooped. And then, like, I dabbled a little bit with MKX Online. That went okay. Same with Injustice 2. But I kind of want to try my hand more with it. And this past year, was it this past year? Maybe it was the last year. I don't know when Dragon Ball FighterZ came out, but slowly getting into that. And then, yeah, Mortal Kombat 11. This was the first online beta I participated with the free one and then the pre-order one. And I mean, yeah, the win-loss record was ass still. I think I ended up going like 18-70 something. So whatever. But the 18, that's still something that I'm proud of. And it's interesting now. I did stream a session of the beta recently. But like being able to pick up on somebody's moves, maybe taking the loss that first round and being like, okay, I saw he did a lot of this. For example, Scorpion. If you don't know, Scorpion does a lot of fucking teleports. There was a guy that was literally every time he got the chance, teleports coming out. I'm like, all right, here we go. Teleport. Oh, look at that. And I'm blocked and ready, and then I'm doing my thing. So it's kind of almost like a chess game where you have all these components in it. Yeah, you can look at it as simple. You're moving this piece, then you move this piece, and then eventually one person wins. But if you really get in the nitty-gritty thick of things, there's a lot of different moves you can things you could do, and moves that can play out. So I just want people to know that, who maybe don't like fighting games or maybe aren't into them like as much. There's a lot that goes into these things, and it's the same for any game really. Like the MOBAs, League of Legends, first-person shooters. Like, there's a ton of stuff that goes into it. And I'm not trying to discourage anybody from getting into fighting games. You gotta start somewhere. If you just like it because all the shiny and flashy stuff, cool, do you. But if you want to get into it, then just be patient, because that's another thing that I've, like I said, learned online. Originally, I'd go on, pissed off. Now I don't want to do it. I'm still, there's times, you get salty. You just got to realize, okay, take a step back, whatever, come back again. But yeah, it's cool to kind of, like I said, pick up on all these little intricacies here and there. I still don't understand frame data, and I don't think I ever will. But at least knowing, okay, this is a high, this is a low, this is where you need to block, this is a string, this is a combo, there's a cooldown, blah, 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 like all the little pieces. It's cool to pick up and learn on. I don't think I'll ever take it to the level you will or other people will, but it's at least, it's another way to kind of expand the game and get more out of it, I guess, ultimately. And it's neat to have those people that want to play in casuals, like you say, and just learn. Like, hey, let's play against each other and see what we can learn from each other to get better. And I think that's great. So as you mentioned, you competed in 2 big tournaments for yourself with the Red Bull Conquest and the Northwest Majors last year. You have the Northwest Majors coming up again this year. And then I know you have certain goals for yourself, big picture wise, with Evo. Was there a certain thing that kind of made you want to compete more, I guess, particularly, or was it just, like you said, to challenge yourself and see what you could do?
First and foremost, for me, it's a bucket list thing to compete at Evo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I'm going to stop playing fighting games, but the thrill of the fight, essentially. I've always kind of prided myself in being, a competent player. I basically was chasing my cousin, though he wasn't looking at it that way. He was just like, I'm just going to teach you how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And once I felt that once I surpassed him, because he stopped playing fighting games and I still played fighting games, and just realizing that he still has buddies who play competitively, and he's invited them over, and when I used to hang out at his place. Well, right around when Ninja was born, because I was working in the Bay Area on the weekends, and he would always have one or two buddies who were like, they still competed. Guys would be in their early 40s now, maybe super late 30s. I mean, I'm not too far behind them, but they definitely have a few years over me. And when they say that, I practice with so and so who goes to Evo, so knowing that that there's a link there, that I'm playing against people who train people who play fighting games for a living, like the thought of like, well, if I can beat this guy, then maybe I can go in and get invited, or have him come over, we can throw it down. But it's always been the chase to be better than my cousin. And once I kind of checked that off, because he basically lost interest in fighting games, right? And Street Fighter 4, after like second season or whatever, I forget. But we just completely dropped it, and it was just like, I'll just play Call of Duty from now on. Like I checked that off my mental list of, all right, even though I know my cousin in his current state of playing fighting games, I could probably dust him no problem. Those friends that like pick and pulled and said, dude, like, you know better. Like they would critique me during a match. Like, oh, this is low key. You're teaching right now. So after I started getting that critique and that criticism, and hearing a lot of extras that I'm doing, but there's a lot of good things I'm doing at the same time. It evens out, but the plea and the ear for what am I doing right, what am I doing wrong, was kind of like brought me back to the whole experience of I'm seeking confident fighter. I'm seeking to be a confident gamer. And so after we had, it must have been months where I was trading off matches for matches. I mean, I probably had a, probably like a 25% win ratio over, these 4 or 5 guys. But then I took that with me going to Sacramento and back to San Jose for like local tournaments. And, was I placing? No, but I was beating some people who me. And so understanding that I still have the drive to be a competent player has always been like, all right, well, I mean, it's not X-Men versus Street Fighter where I feel I'm really good at. Like that's a game I will run my mouth a bit. But just knowing that the big picture is I have to, not that I need to, I have to compete at Evo. And the fact that I've been given the opportunity to go to a free tournament that's sponsored by Red Bull for free. Actually, it was like $10, but still, $10 to go and meet. I crossed off 2 things off my list. I got to meet Yikes.
Yep.
I got to meet Persia last year. Those 2 people like inspire me, because like I've chatted with them before. Actually, more Yikes when I go on his channel, like, but knowing the fact that he's like, dude, you're hungry, just keep going. Someone that's the voice of Marvel. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge pat on my back. He's like, oh, how'd you do? I was like, well, I got SPD'd by, pro players and such and such and such and such. Dude, just keep playing. You're not going to play to your full potential. You make it those because I had like I was like, they're free Red Bulls. This is probably bad for my blood pressure. But I just able to. I mean, I had the experience that I had at Red Bull was a ton of gamers. Whether it's Tekken 7, whether it's Guilty Gear, whether it's Street Fighter 5, whether it's Smash, whether it's, pick a game. I've met them. The experience, the opportunity to go to such an experience, and the eagerness to want to learn so that I can continue to grow as a competent gamer. I mean, I'm 34, and I've been playing games since I was 5 years old, man. That's 29 years, you know what I mean? I've had a lifetime of trying to understand Street Fighter 2 mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have that same eagerness until I was, my late teens or so.
Right.
And now it's like, it's just, for me, it's a natural, like, wow, I did that.
Mm-hmm.
People who, whether they're sponsored or not, I took off 50% off so-and-so's name, double perfect, no problem. We're taking off 33% of somebody's life. Do they really mean it? Maybe. But I take those pluses where they say, hey, you did this good, is where you really fell off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the that's the cup of water I want to drink from. It's like, point out my mistakes so I can keep that as a mental check. So next time I play someone who's playing your character specifically, not the way that they're going to play them completely the same, but I'll understand that I can't do this in this situation, or just know that if I do this and this is the situation, I'm gonna get whacked, and that's part of knowing why you're getting hit. That's part of why you're losing rounds, why you're losing matches. And focus is to, hey, it all comes back down to my cousin's friends that said, hey, you're a pretty good competitor, just keep playing. 12 years later from Yipes, dude, just keep playing, just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
like that chase for me to be a competent player and the experience overall is like, dude, I can see myself doing this until PlayStation 7, PlayStation 8 comes out. Everything's virtual reality.
Yep.
They'll have virtual arcade stick for me to play.
There you go.
No, I mean, it's just something I don't think I can. It's just something that I don't think I can just kind of let go. I have to continue to chase it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's good, at least from what we've talked about, like, on the side of like having that community that you go to, like Danny obviously, and then the rest of the attorneys that you talked about, the casuals that you go to. You got a group, and you've been learning different games, like you mentioned, hopping back into Tekken 7, and then obviously the anime fighter and stuff like that. I think that's good, and I'm really happy for you that you have this goal that you set for yourself, because I think it's amazing, especially knowing what Evo is. And yeah, regardless of how it turns out, that's still an awesome thing that you're pushing yourself to do. And I hope it happens for you in any way that we can help. Obviously we want to. So obviously Street Fighter 5 is the big one that you compete with. Are there any games that you have dabbled with competing with or want to compete with? Anything particular?
I'm actually starting to look at, Tekken 7, Julia and Armor King are the two characters. I take that back. Julia, Armor King, June, and Josie.
Mm-hmm.
Just Josie is Bruce Irving, who was my favorite character of the whole Tekken series. And she's Filipino, so I have to represent the Filipinos. And Tekken 7 is fun, though. Like, the only thing that really aggravates me is the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Get pinned up against the wall. It is the most infuriating thing ever. But you know what? You have to understand, why did you get put into there? How and why did you get into that situation?
Mm-hmm.
Eunice is a game I definitely want to learn. In Guilty Gear, Exert 2.
Yeah, there are two.
Like, the character I want to play, Chip, the ninja, requires a lot of. I'm hearing he's very difficult to play if you want to play him correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Say that's anybody really. He's a character that from day one I was like, dude, this is like 1996, 1997. I'm talking. I could easily put Kai or Soul, but I'm like, they're like Ken and Ryu of the game. I don't want to play those guys,
Mm-hmm.
Or Bang or whatever the name is. I want to play a character that, if I don't play Chip, I'm probably gonna play Jam, who's just as nuts, and she has to be in your face. And I normally don't really play that. I like mid-range people that can just good damage, and I like to counter poke. If I can voice you press a specific button. I know my button's going to be yours. I'm going to set you up until you catch on to it. And I mean, those three. Eunice, not in any specific order. Eunice, just because it's fresh. Again, it's a surprise Evo game this year.
Right.
A lot of people were like, wow, how did that make it in there, you know? I mean, you'll get Xrd too. I mean, I have a very, very good pushy buddy by the name of Hellsap, who is known in the Oregon scene that I don't know what his actual title or what his, you know, how good he is, but I know that he's really good and he pushes for the growth of the scene. As far as just making sure that he'll teach you the fundamentals in a way that it's going to play to how he learned the game. So I don't want to say conflict. It's just I haven't time to sit down with gear to, you know, learn the fundamentals. And I know that if I get the crash course version from him, it's going to be a little too much because it would be fast paced. You know, you go into a college career course where normally it takes 16 weeks and you got 7 weeks to learn it. You know, it would be the same effect. It's just going to be a ton of information and it's not going to stick. It's just going to go. So I feel that I think after Northwest, I've been telling myself after like the next one or after the next one, I'm going to sit down. But just feeling how Eunice plays, and I can see myself kind of apply not necessarily the same understanding of the game to Guilty Gear, because Gear is another monster in itself. But having my eyes being trained to how anime games play, that's probably going to force me back into Dragon Ball, to be honest. Even though I know they're getting GT Kid Goku, which is kind of like, ugh.
Another Goku, just what we need.
They didn't want to. They didn't want to put Goten in the game, so they're going to put GT Goku.
Yep.
You know, but whatever. I mean, I got Vegito. 4 kinds of, I don't know, 5 kinds of Vegetas.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Well, but I feel that Eunice is going to be my foot in the door to anime games. That will help me understand why when I'm playing Tien Shin Han and his volley thing doesn't, his Neo Tri-Beam, I didn't even understand that there was a little disclaimer every time you use a Tri-Beam or Neo Tri-Beam, it takes off 10% of your life. I heard that got nerfed, so thank God.
Yeah, it has.
His life, and he already sacrificed his Chaozu, so it's not even fair. And I feel that Eunice is going to be the game that bridges my eyes to be able to follow anime games, I feel.
Cool.
Because I got a buddy out at our casuals that's like, he's always like, hey man, let's play this game. I'm like, I don't know, I've never played that game. All right, here's a controller. Start playing. All right, let's play.
Great.
So, you know, I feel like that's kind of like what happened with me. It's like, I'll hop in. No one wants to play it, so you know what? I guess I got next. I got a controller and someone lined up, and next thing I'm beating 6 people. It's like, dude, I've only played this. How and why are you beating us? I've been playing this game for like months. So, those would be the games. And Mortal Kombat is definitely something that's it's got my interest now. So I just have to see how this variant system is going to work. And in there, Scorpion's there by default. Kang looks nuts. We got Jackie. He's probably been a new character I want to learn. I mean, Johnny Cage is there, so I mean, I got the 3 that I was looking forward to the most. I mean, Scorpion again, so Jackie, Briggs. Cool.
All right. Well, that's a transition. A little bit earlier with Dragon Ball FighterZ. So recently, shout out Snowbike Mike. He hosted a weekly tournament that was Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I was like, all right, cool, a fighting game finally. So I decided to hop in. It was a small tournament. Only 4 of us participated, but I had a blast playing it. I got to winners, then I lost, then I was in losers bracket, and the guy I beat before beat me, so eventually got eliminated. But it was a blast playing. But we did one practice match beforehand with the person on the opposite side of the bracket. But man, after that first match, the rush of adrenaline I had for whatever reason of just like, this isn't even for anything like it's big, but like, holy crap, my hands were shaking and stuff like that. So I guess to wrap up this topic, Dio, how do you keep control of your nerves when playing?
When it comes to competition, man, that's I mean, you as an instructor, have years of that. It's legit, man. And it's just it's a different form because now you're competing. Normally, you're the one that's doing the teaching. Now you gotta learn to be taught. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that when I definitely have the jitters. I mean, I was having the jitters last night playing those 8 or 9 matches I played. Just in a way, like my way that I kind of keep myself in check. I'll talk to myself during a match. I will be like, don't do that. Just slow down. Especially if it's like, for example, I had like 60% life. My opponent had like 15%, and he was just trying to rush. I'm like, dude, like all I have to do is just block and just wait. What did I do? I ended up losing that round because I rushed in and tried to throw blows for blows. The next time I got into that situation, I was like 40% life, and he still had like 30% life. Like he just took a deep breath, I jumped backwards, had enough space, and I said, you know what, slow down. That just kind of helped me that'll help me focus back onto like my game plan of, all right, let's not get into a scramble. We know what happened. He took 60% of my life in a matter of 17 seconds because I wanted to throw blows and get the match over with. Stick to my game plan as to why I have the life lead now. Stick to my game plan and let him play to my strengths, or let him play my game plan. Don't try to play. And I always tell myself that too. Don't play their game plan. They want you to come in. They're going to get the life lead, and then are they the type of people that's just going to sit back and wait, or are they going to just throw a lot of buttons, and next thing you know, you're trying to hit those buttons, and that's what. So for me, to answer your question, I talk to myself, I'll verbally say, slow down, or take a deep breath. Say, all right, I'm winning, or I'm losing. And that usually is enough to be like, all right, let's think about it, okay. And then just kind of, something else I do too is like match is going, I'll actually just say, oh, okay, he's jumping. I'll actually say what they're doing, standing medium punch, standing medium punch. But if he throws it again, I'm going to stock my game plan. Another medium punch, I'm going to sweep him. And what am I going to do? Set up the meaty, throw a button out there, and hopefully he blocks and doesn't wake up and dragon punch me. Or I'm going to jump back. I talk about my game plan as I'm going. It's different because if you're in the tournament.
Yeah, right there.
Well, most people are gonna have like headphones because I don't like how some tournaments are like everything is it's sponsored, then you have to wear headphones and stuff.
Right.
So, I know that's been a complaint against not even just like regular players like us, but even some sponsored players kind of complain about that too. But the biggest thing is for me, I need to hear the video game, and if I feel like I'm having like Red Bull fingers or whatever, it's like try to stick to your game plan and just talk to yourself. I mean that helps me. Is it going to help you? I don't know. Until you get to a situation where you're like, okay, so I still have my trunks. I still have my Tien. He's down to the Yamcha. I play Yamcha too. So all I'm going to do is focus on what buttons or what this character is gonna be able to do with whatever he has. I know this is a little much because you're gonna be like, all right, so he's got like 2 meters. He has 2 supers. He still has sparkle or sparking, whatever.
Yeah.
He's got level 3 X Factor. He's got 60% max life. Okay. I'm just going to take my time and slow down. And sometimes that's what it takes is just slowing down your play. So that way you can be like, okay, I think it's safe to jump now.
Right.
And just kind of, for me, again, this is just for me. I remind myself, okay, I got into this position because I was being patient, rushing, or don't throw because I want you to come in so they can punch you in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So um, certain places too, like I've had the opportunity to not necessarily coach someone, but because some tournaments don't allow coaching, which is, that's, I mean, there are some tournaments that allow it, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, it's like it was doing a money match like months ago. It was like $20, but still, $20. You know? All right, dude, he's gonna crouch me and punch you all day. Beat that. That's all I said. And that was like, while they're picking the characters and stuff. So, you know, from sometimes just hearing it from someone else, kind of like, okay, all right, or I'll slow down because I'm excited right now. And it's tough because every situation is different. The jitters, man. Like, it doesn't help to have like a ton of caffeine. Like when I went last year, it was rough. Because it's like, I'm already nervous as it is. I'm playing pro players, my first tournament ever. You know, but even online, it's like, all right, just slow down. Maybe just say something about your game plan. I mean, that helps for me. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I plan on. I have a plan to kind of see if I can reach out to the Kind of Funny community who did participate in that tournament and seems to want to play more, and see if maybe we can get like that casual kind of thing going, like you were saying with your guys out west, and yeah, just play more, because ultimately, like you said, play more, you'll get better XP, stuff like that.
And that's important because, like, I mean, that's why I think I fell off with Dragon Ball, to be honest. Like, it's a beautiful game. It is visually, it's stunning. It's much faster than Guilty Gear. It's much faster than Eunice. It's like Marvel on crack, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's on X Factor level 3 when you're playing that game. You have your Dragon Rush or your throw, and your Super Dash or whatever, and then your lifter, or whatever the button is. Down heavy or whatever, chase, B, special move, super tag, super.
Yep.
Felt that. Or you play, your eyes will adjust. If you scan the screen too, don't like play the game and be like, okay. If you know you're about to land a hard knockdown or something that's going to end the combo, take a quick glance. It's going to help you. Like, all right, life lead, time, sparkle, and check. Meter, check. Okay, how many Dragon Balls? Check. All right, he's still falling. Okay, now I can think about what my next thing is. Should I chase him? We'll go on level 1 super, or am I just going to let him up? Blah, 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 blah. When you have a guaranteed, like, hard knockdown or a transition where it's going to, where you and your opponent can't necessarily do anything, always scan to keep an eye. That's going to help, like, okay, so what I'm doing is right. What I'm doing is going to lead to him losing life and me keeping my life. Just based on being able to see, what their, what their utility, not utilities, but, their meter and how much life they have. Of course you have to keep an eye if they have sparkle or not.
Right.
But also which character they have, because you never know. Their anchor character could technically be their best character, could be their weakest character. He probably won't use it to assist. Tag super, that's it. He's a meat shield. He's just gonna, vice versa, rinse and repeat. But that goes into just in this match, saying that you already you have your you're trying to work towards butters to what your muscle memory is, and that's going to help you get all those situations. I feel. Just talking about it too, like the mental game is like that's next level. Like when you want to learn about the game, you're not playing the game. The game's not even in front of you. You're just talking about. Well, if someone jumps with you're already understanding. You're already grasping. You're already starting to learn. This is what I can do in this situation. And That's no, I'm just getting like a lecture on to go about, like, even just talking about the situation is that shows your character knowledge. To be honest, your understanding of do what you can't do per character, and it's a tough thing to do. But the more you do it, the more secondhand it becomes, and you're like, oh, that's just what I was talking about. I can do this. Boom. Next thing you know, combo dead. Like, dude, that was easy. You know? So that's something I'm actually trying to kind of learn as I'm getting ready for this whole thing. I talk about it, and it's like, dude, I'm like, I'm like, after I paid for my ticket to get in, I was like, dude, this is a weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Really weird, but I'm excited. So
nice. All right, Dio, moving on to topic 3. This is your topic, getting away from the fighting games. What is your topic, good sir?
Well, good. Since, with all the big deals of sports and sports entertainment, I think next year is supposed to be a really big year for the NBA. Was it 2021? But they do something called, a lot of colleges or a lot of high prospective players do the one and done, where they go to college for 1 year. They're a high draft number for the NBA.
Uh-huh.
We're not talking about basketball. Wrestling. Ronda Rousey had a 1-year contract from one WrestleMania to another WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I guess this has a sub question in it too. And with WrestleMania and the 2 or 3 weeks after WrestleMania, with a lot of people's contract expiring, possible AEW. First part, what do you think about the one and done when it comes to wrestling? And it doesn't have to just pertain to Ronda Rousey. There are people who have had NXT tryouts, and all of a sudden they're not, being used correctly, or, and so they get their exposure and then they cut. And then the second question is, I guess hypothetically could be a third question, but second question is, with the AEW becoming a known force with a well backed up supporter or backer,
right?
Scenario is, if there are 3 big name wrestlers supposedly jumping ship, actually 4, we'll do the 2 Usos, possibly Randy Orton, and possibly Dolph Ziggler, and AEW. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. So Rousey's whole thing, I'll answer Rousey, then I'll go year to year, and then those 4 gentlemen. So Rousey, I don't know. I was fine with her. I've talked about it numerous times. Dad and I were not happy with the Rumble. I get it was a moment type thing, interrupt, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't a fan of the fast track to the title, but then I get it, business, it makes sense, whatever. As a personal fan, I was like, fuck that. I think the heat on this rivalry that her and Becky got, money, it's great. Charlotte being into it, all right, whatever. Rip Asuka, that's a different thing, but I thought her and Becky, I thought that was great. Yeah. The internet feud thing, cool, whatever. It's just that little extra layer that they can kind of add on to kayfabe. Now, she's either getting me and I'm being punked, or I hate it. Whatever's Ronda's breaking kayfabe, oh, it's fake, this, that. No shit, it's fake. But I don't like that. I think that's some BS. Because if she was a real fan, like she's been saying with the Roddy connection and all that, that's a big no-no. I get it, it's not the 80s where you didn't have the internet, you didn't have this, but you should still play into it. It's just like a play or a movie or whatever. Yeah, it's a character. Go with it. If it's all a work, fine. I'm not a fan of it, but whatever. As for her leaving, if it's genuine on the family starter, good for her. Go do your thing. If you want to come back, great. She's a draw. I get it. She might not be my favorite, but I get it. It's the Brock Lesnar thing in a way.
Yeah.
Gah, I can't stand Brock. Get the title off him. But yeah, come back and do shit. I get it. People like you. Fuck it. Whatever. If it's for the family, yeah, do your thing. I don't care. If it was just for, hey, let's get money for a year and do this thing, then that's the bad taste in my mouth. So as for one and dones, pretty much for anybody. If it was just to pump yourself up, I guess, in a way, and just kind of selfish reasons, then nah, I'm not a fan of it. If you legit leave because family or health or whatever, okay, you know, things you can't control, or you just want to move on with the next part of your life, I get that. That's fine. As for, I'm not going to the AEW guys yet, but as for people like leaving, I guess, for example, Ty Dillinger's the big one I can think of right now. Big Perfect 10. Unfortunately left. R.I.P. So now he's going by the name of Sean Spears, and he's doing indies. That I get. It's unfortunate, but that's a big problem I think there is with WWE right now, is there's just so many fucking people. And I mean, there's a lot of talented people who are on TV and who aren't on TV. And then it's the opposite. There's a lot of not talented people on TV and not on TV. It's a very tough balance that they have. And if people don't feel that they're being used right, then yeah, they need to do what's best for them. You got Dillinger, you got a Tommy, you got rumor of Gallows and Anderson leaving when they're done, which is another possible AEW. There was rumors for Revival for quite a while, but then they got their title run now, so I don't know if that changes anything. It sucks because you know they can do well, but it's also a good thing because, yeah, hopefully they can. For another example, it was way before all this AEW stuff, but he went by the name of, I think it was, no, that's his current name, Sami Callihan. He's over in TNA now, but he was over in New Japan, I believe, maybe, I don't know. But he was in NXT as Solomon Crow. That was the name. And I personally liked him. He came back from an injury. He was back for a while. He had this hacker gimmick. I was like, all right, cool. You know, he was like, all right, it's not working. And he left. And he's like blown up. He's like one of the biggest things in TNA right now. Another guy I can think of went by the name of CJ Parker in NXT. He's now over in Japan as Juice Robinson, fucking IGWP, I think he was US champ. Like, he's done amazing things for himself. So as for like leaving, it sucks to see, but it's good because, yeah, if CJ wanted to come back or Solomon wanted to come back or whatever gimmick they want to come back as, that's cool. Like, I mean, there's people now who have done it. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there's people who have done it who were one thing, left for a while, and then came back, and then they were bigger than ever. So it's, I don't know. It's an interesting thing that's going on. As for the 4 AEW rumor people, Orton's a tough one. I know Orton has the connection with Cody. I don't know how legit that is. He might have just been blowing smoke. But it's not like he doesn't... Okay, he should have the money to be like security blanket going over there. But I don't know if he'd want to leave WWE for that. That's a tough one. That one I find hard to believe, but I can see the rationale behind it, I guess. Yeah. Dolph is one that would have been for sure. And especially because he hasn't been on TV in a while, that's tough. But I know he wanted a lesser contract so he could do his comedy stuff. I think WWE's been more lenient with that, but I don't know. Because then again, he hasn't been on TV. Honestly, the last thing I can think of him was Rumble when he was 30th or 29th, like out of nowhere. I was like, oh yeah, hey, what's up? And he's another one, like, I think he should be on more, but I get it. If he feels he needs to leave, then he needs to leave. And then Usos, that one took me by surprise when you mentioned that. But I get it because what else did they do? Like, they've been tag champs, like, what, 7 times now? 8 times? They fucked up with Mania. Could have been Hardy's Usos, but that's a different thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. Like, that's a tough one, especially as a tag team where you stuck together that long and you haven't had that split. I think it's really hard for twins to do in general. But what do? You've won Raw tag, you've won SmackDown tag. Are you going to go down to NXT and win those tag? Like, I don't know. That's interesting because, yeah, I guess they could pull a Dudley's move and like go from Fed to Fed. I mean, Hardy's did it too, and like do the, I don't know what the Hardys called it, the World Tour of Titles or whatever the fuck, but like see if you can win the tag belts in each promotion. But I don't know. It's an interesting time in wrestling right now with just another brand spouting up because it's good. You know, competition's good. I don't think they're going to be like, I know a lot of people have faith in AEW, which they should. There's no reason not to. I don't think they're going to be this giant force that some people believe, like a dagger in the side of WWE, like, you're dead now type thing. Like, it could be another ROH. It could be another Ring of Honor. Like, they do good stuff and they survive on their own. There's nothing wrong with that. They could be another TNA. I know Impact's got better. Oh boy, has it been a roller coaster in its lifetime, but I guess it's doing okay now. I don't know. I think it's good because it will make WWE smarten up with whether it's story or pushing people or treating their employees. But I just don't think it's going to be like this gut punch Shoryuken to WWE right off the bat that some people think. So I don't know. I guess that's my thoughts on all those three questions. What do you think about it?
That's why you mentioned Ziggler not being on TV. I actually read an article. I don't know if it's legit or not, but he was pulled off. According to the story, that pulled off TV because he refused like a more of a creative development job, and so that's why, according to the story, that's why he was pulled out. There's no real injuries known at the time. But I mean, Ziggler's been like one of my favorite dudes for like the longest time. Like, the guy can cut promos, he can sell. He's the best selling dude that they have right now.
Oh yeah.
And for him, like to have like that one run, it wasn't really even a run. It was like an overnight 50 years, your 50 minutes of fame, buddy. You got a concussion? All right, well, I guess you're done. I've actually been rooting for him for a long time, especially right after he, broke out of Spirit Squad and stuff. But with the Usos, I hear that's been a definitely like ongoing thing with them and the Young Bucks saying that they want to have a match against them to show who's the best brother duo. And I mean, I could definitely see them having that. I mean, they both super kick the hell out of everybody. So, right. I mean, one does flips, the other one does, body splashes, I guess. But I mean, I think it would be tough because then I think if they tried to come back, it would be like, you guys can't do that. Going over the other over the fence, and
right.
You're not allowed back. But I mean, if Ziggler goes, I hope he gets a good fighting chance to be creative. Because like the gimmicks that he's had, I mean, I've been saying for years that he easily could have been the next Shawn Michaels, easily. Not to say, no disrespect, but I mean, I feel that he definitely had the potential a long time ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And now the fact that he started doing super kicks, I'm like, yeah, it's over. He's basically Shawn Michaels. Just give him a freaking belt. But I mean, I'll root for him whether or not he stays with WWE. I would prefer him to just get better creative stories, or just make him an HBK 2.0. He's as athletic. He's got the look. I don't know. Most women probably say he's a sexy boy. So, but Orton, I don't know. I mean, his ties with Cody, yeah, I get it, but he's got pension money from WWE. You know what I mean? He's what, one of the first third generation wrestlers?
I think it was the very first, yeah.
Very first, and he was the youngest heavyweight champ also. Was it?
Sorry, second, The Rock.
I don't know. To be honest, I just don't see him doing anything at the Indies. Because everyone's gonna boo him. RKO, I don't know. Like,
Mhm.
do that. I mean, like all the RKOs aren't really out of nowhere. Everyone sees it coming a mile away, you know. But oh wait, Seth Rollins, you're face down. Let me I'm down. Why don't you jump off my back and RKO? You know, Rey Mysterio jump off top. Well, don't do that, please.
Mhm.
No, but I don't know. If he goes, I don't think I would miss Orton. I think his best run, besides Evolution, was pretty dope. Was when he had that mini feud with Kofi Kingston.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
That was so good. I was like, dude, Kofi, is that legit?
That should have been the push.
Like, that legit? Cause like, yo, when he was beating up that race car, I was like, I had a jaw dropping like reaction, like, yo, that is for real.
See, that's good. That's what they should do with people. Is like, hey, here's this mid card guy. Let's transition him, or at least just give him a run of some kind. Like even Mustafa Ali coming out of nowhere. Like he was great in Cruiserweight Classic. He wasn't what he was now, but like, whoo, like that was good. And then yeah, injury aside, but then they brought him back in the most stupid way. So here's this guy who's on fire. Let's boo him. Oy. But yeah, that's what they should do with people if they want to rearrange the scale a little bit.
I mean, I definitely would think that out of the 4 AEW names that I dropped, I think definitely Ziggler would be like, I think Ziggler would be the biggest draw out of all 4 of them, to be honest. Just because I know the fans have been waiting for Ziggler to have like a run of some kind, and Orton's like, dude, let me superplex you. I'm gonna step on your body, and then I'm gonna RKO you.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like I don't know. I mean, even his mic segments are boring to me. I mean, like young Orton was pretty good, you know? But then again, it's like I still think Ziggler would be the biggest draw, and I would he would go there because I would love to see how he would face off against other people. I mean, I would love to see him like fully unlock potential wrestling. You know, he's so athletic. I mean, not to say that the other guys aren't either, but I would just love to see him just go up against Cody Rhodes again in a unfiltered wrestling match. You know, no WWE style. 7-minute minimum. 5 moves of doom setup, or you know, I miss the occasional. Oh my God, an unplanned schoolboy halfway through the match. That was so good. You know what I mean? Like I miss the randomness that is wrestling. That was wrestling because everything is so WWE style. You know.
So I guess spin-off question from that. So obviously that's very main roster. How do you feel about NXT though? Have you been able to watch those takeovers?
I have not, but they have picked up some big names though. You know, like names. You know, I think my 2 favorites. Well, I always think. Oh no, I take that back. There's 2 guys that big boys, Keith Lee and Jeff Cobb. Oh my God. You want to see a 380-pound moonsault? That guy can do it. And they make Vader look small. They're super athletic. Those are guys like Cage's wrestled, man. Like, good Lord. Like, I watch them like, dude, it literally is like colossal titans fighting each other, like nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've already seen Jeff Cobb. He was in Lucha Underground.
Okay.
He was Bill Marquez's brother, the guy in the jumpsuit and the black mask.
Okay.
But very athletic for a guy his size. And you know, I need to get back to NXT because, like, I mean, what's his name? Dunn? That guy's dope. That guy is a monster.
Yeah, I mean, their week to week is but their takeovers, whew, that's where they show up and show out. So, like, I feel that would scratch your itch of, like, the unexpected. Like, they only have, like, 5 matches, but, I mean, it's not even that long either. Like, if it's 2 hours, but they feel like, whew, okay, this was a ride each time. So, yeah, I would definitely recommend the takeovers at least. Like I said, the week to week, it's your usual programming, a little bit spice up, but you know, it's developmental. mostly. So it's understandable. You got to have the squash matches for the new guys, and then you got to have the promos and this, that, and the other thing. So, but yeah, takeovers. Oh yeah, those are good.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to look at that. I mean, like, I've been trying to watch the Bro.
Matt Riddle.
Even before he was there, dude, like, it's tough because like he was an MMA fighter, right?
Yeah.
And so like he's got a lot of dude. Like it's like I question how he doesn't knock anybody out, man. Like those knee strikes he has, holy crap! I would hate to take those. He probably got some like he can probably split your skull open with a knee, dude. Like it's nasty.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, like and he's a strong dude too. Like you can tell, like that guy's a monster. And then who's that other big guy that they just picked up?
I don't know if it's the guy you're thinking of, but the guy Punishment Martinez.
Yeah, that guy. I need to watch more of him because I hear people kind of equate him to like a Vampiro Undertaker.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like, I mean, like when he was in the Ring of Honor, I guess that's what a lot of people were saying. That's how he wrestled. Was very, you know, he's very. For a guy his size, he's pretty stocky looking.
Yeah.
And like. I would have to see more matches. I think I've only seen like 5 or 6 matches of them where less than 12 minutes, and it was just like kind of like a typical wrestling match. No real like storytelling or not too much like crowd interaction or anything. I mean,
yeah, I haven't seen him wrestle yet, but I know he's there and I know the name. I'm so behind on week to week, but I know he's done a couple dark matches and stuff just reading online. But yeah, he's a big name I've heard of. Looking forward to seeing more.
He's definitely a big name like acquisition. And I don't know any like UK wrestlers, so it's like outside of like Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. and all of them. But I don't know anybody on the NXT roster.
No, the UK roster, I'm like, okay.
All I know is the UK wrestling is very, very, very different. Very stiff and very. Oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, but I don't know. I would have to watch more for sure. I mean, that's one area of wrestling I really haven't really paid attention to ever, outside of Steven Regal, and Fit Finlay. Those are the only 2 big like European names that I can think of. I definitely should have watched them more, but it is what it is. Oh. Quick question.
Yeah.
So Jericho, you heard about his podcast, right?
I know of it. I haven't watched anything, but
I guess he got he's banned from having WWE entertainers on his podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, oh well, I mean it was eventual because he's AEW.
Yeah, I know he used to have him on all the time, but yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I read a quick story about how like they had to like edit him out because he was on like up down down.
Yeah. I don't know about up down down. I know like their opening segment for Raw with like the screens, like somebody put like a screenshot of the week before AEW and the week after. It was Jericho, and then it's just Cesaro like over top.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, everybody. This has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 42. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011. I was joined by Dio, aka Dio247 today. Dio, thanks for hopping in on the podcast. I do appreciate it. Remember, guys, you can watch the podcast live every first and third Saturday of the month over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you can't catch it live, you can go over to youtube.com and search Enigma9011 where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video for your enjoyment. If you guys have any topics that you'd like us to discuss, you can either put it in the comment section down below or join us over on Discord and put it in that tab respectively. And then last but not least, #ad. We're brought to you guys by the merch store. You can get all of your Enigma 911 swag over there. T-shirts, backpacks, cups, and more. Rep the brand. It would be greatly appreciated. And get yourself a fancy business card like that. Dio, thanks for being on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Good, sir.
We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.